morning, everybody. How are you? How was the weekend? Very busy or you were relaxed? No relaxation. I hope that though you are spending some time on studying poetry, do you? Did you have a time to look at the Oxen? How did you find it? Weird. Very strange. Okay, we'll come to that, to your response after we listen to a report or two. And, I know, I collected your reports, and I'm going to collect them at any time, even your responses. You see what I mean? So be careful. I told you from the very beginning, you have to come to each class. So those students who thought that they came and, I gave them the mark, I can take it back if you don't continue this. So I might collect it at any moment, the reports. And this time, if you miss a report, you're going to miss the whole bonus mark. So be careful and try not to miss any report or any response. Good. Yes? Miss Saleh, yes? I think your name is Athar, if I'm not mistaken. So I started to have a good memory, yeah? You come here.
Good morning. To be away from university for 3 weeks is a terrible thing. I was very sick and stayed at home a long time and missed a lot of the lecture for 7 courses. Poetry course was the most comfortable one while I was watching the videotaping lecture. I was very clear. I feel like I stay. It was very clear. I feel like I stay at the class, but I don't know what I will do for the other courses.
Okay, thank you. We understand, and perhaps this is the purpose why I agreed to videotape these classes, because, sometimes some students have invincible, circumstances, something that they cannot, control. And, the videotaping is for those students who cannot come because of difficult circumstances. Good. Yes, we need another creative report. Who thinks that her report is creative? Okay. I think you're lucky. This is the 5th time you're standing here? You don't remember. You don't count times.
I come here, but I don't have.
Okay, good. You're lucky then.
Good morning, everybody. That lecture was I attended in the previous lecture. So I wrote about it. That lecture was too distinguishable. Because we discussed a poem that seems enjoyable. Also, we interest ourselves by the questions the teacher asked, and Mr. Habib gave us many chances to act. Then we gave good responses to the poem, and the teacher thanked us because of our deep thinking for expressing them. He read to us the first stanza and asked questions about this stanza. Next to that, we talked about Christianity and Christmas, and talked about some aspects of this day and being religious. After that, Mr. Habib told us to search about the miracles accompanying our Prophet Muhammad's birth. So we agreed with him and decided or promised to make such a research. Finally, time is over and the teacher asked us to prepare. So we left the lecture and promised to participate well and share.
Thank you very much. Good. It's a nice response, and you reminded me of an assignment I gave, to talk about the miracles that accompany the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But before that, today, this is what I'm planning. I'm planning to, look at the poem again, to simplify it, and then to consider, this is the main focus of today's class, is to concentrate on the stylistic analysis. This is something we are doing, we have been doing this, stylistic analysis, but on, not on a large scale. Today we are going to concentrate more on stylistic analysis. Okay? But before that, I want to listen or to see, how did you find the poem? Was it easy, difficult? Do you like it? You didn't like it? When you read it, how you felt. Okay, so we're coming back to square number 1. Okay, yes? Yes, how did you find the poem, Rawand?
Actually, when I first read it, I didn't get anything.
Uh-huh, very good.
I had to search the internet about it, and
Yeah, because, it started, the poem, started by, like just one, talking about Christmas Eve and 12 of the clock. Good.
And I understand that it was about a superstition.
A superstition?
Superstition, yeah. About the oxen and kneels to Jesus at the Christmas night.
So you discovered it was about superstition. Okay. So like they said, that was a superstition. Who said that?
The older man in the poem said that there was a superstition. At that time, Harvey was a child. He and his friends were just believing, and they didn't even think about it or doubt that it might be not true.
No, hold on. Okay, Khalid, could you get us the internet, please? Okay. Yes, so Hardy thought it was...
At that time, when he was a child, he and his friend thought it was right, and they didn't even bother themselves.
So they didn't think it was a superstition.
Yeah.
Okay? They thought it was something real.
Yeah.
You know what? What is she talking about? What superstition she's talking about? Yeah, the kneeling, of the oxen. Like, because here, this is like the picture the poem starts with. It starts with like a group of people sitting together and an elder person, like perhaps a priest or perhaps like, a wise man, was telling them stories about the birth of Jesus Christ. And one of these stories was the kneeling of the oxen. Now, that was like a superstitious, like this is what some people said, but Christian would say that this is a miracle, because we're talking about, let's say, a cosmic event. We're not talking about, it is a birth of a prophet. And we said, we should not talk about, the birth of prophets in this way, like it was superstition. Because, we believe, like, there are miracles accompanying the birth of prophets. And I gave you an assignment last time to tell me about the miracles that accompanied Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Did you get any? Yes?
There are many miracles that happen. One of them is that the idols fall down on their faces the night that he was...
Yeah, the idols, fell down on their faces.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, the light went out with him in a large area of the Arabian Peninsula.
Yeah, there was some, eclipse. Okay.
And also, broke A1 fractions.
Yeah, you can say bracelets. Yeah.
And the fire of Paris was extinguished.
The Persian fire was extinguished. So these were the miracles that took place.
And also the lake of Sawa was dried up.
Okay, well, good. So, again, these are the miracles that accompany, prophets and the stories of prophets. Here we have a miracle, the Christian, but I don't know, it could be a superstition, but the Christian would deem it as a miracle. Okay, let's see other people's responses. I don't want to waste time. Yes, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The oxen kneeling, it was a legend. The hardy reality accepted no legends. The serenity, innocence, and faith torn out in these years. Is he losing faith in religion or maybe in a corrupt humanity? We ought to find out, although it may not matter. The war sure everything did shatter.
Wow. Good, thank you very much. Again, I'm impressed by Jehan's response, because this is what she's been doing all throughout the course, like she was responding in poetry. Good. I'm also interested, in just knowing the response of, other of you. Like, what do you think? What is the poem? Yeah, it's here. It's coming, like, yeah. Okay, so, what do you think? The oxen. I don't need the tiger. The oxen. Yes. So you have to go. Yeah, what do you think? Have you read the poem or not yet? Yes, there. What do you think of the poem? Why is it beautiful?
Because the speaker wrote about his conversion from childhood and the memory in real as an other.
So because he was talking about a personal experience, it's beautiful. How did he talk about the personal, his past experience? How did he talk? You say it's beautiful. Like, what was his attitude to the word of the past? Yes, Layla?
I think he longed for the previous day of telling the stories and...
Yeah, he was nostalgic. He was homesick. He appreciated very much, the time when people were getting together and talking. In the meantime, he's not happy with how people are behaving nowadays. What's the problem with people nowadays? Did you feel like, because he's talking about two words, the past and the present? Yes. How? Yes, please.
The people now consider Christmas Day as to fun and to enjoy with each other, but in the past was as a miracle thing, and they believe it, and now they celebrate and make a...
So in the past, people trusted each other. Nowadays, people do not. Nowadays, people are skeptic. They are cynical. You know what I mean? To be cynical, not to take, not to believe, what people are telling you. Yes, Jehan?
Yeah, there's also no spirituality, not the same spirituality that used to be before that. And also because of the time when he wrote the poem, it was the World War and everything, so he kind of lost faith. He felt like the world is losing...
Which war are you talking about?
World War...
No, I don't think...
It was published. When it was published.
It was what published, okay.
It was published during the war, after the war, so it felt like it's the same comparison. There is no spirituality, people are fighting each other.
Yeah, the sea of faith was like shrinking.
Yeah, and there wasn't the connection between the community as it used to be. Everything is distorted, everything is just changed.
Good. Yes, any other response? Let's see. Last time, we spoke about two different words, and this is what we have in the poem. It's a word of the past, represented by a group of people getting together, and you have a senior telling them the story about the miracles of the birth of Jesus Christ. The reaction of the people was there. They believed that, and nobody suspected that. All of them took it for granted. Nobody suspected that. However, the poet spoke about nowadays. Spoke about the present when he say these years, and the case was completely different. So far, a fans, if you would, in these years, I feel if someone said on a Christmas Eve, come see the oxen, kneel, I would go with him. It's not like we pictured, it's not like we believed. I would go with him and tell him, okay, will you show me? I don't trust you. I don't believe what you say. Will you show me? So this is the whole poem. Now, we want, as you see, the poem falls in two parts. The first and the second stanza represent the past, and the third and the fourth represent the present. Now, we want to look at the pronouns, for example, to look at the syntactic structure, to look at the tenses, to look at, the verbs themselves, the kind of verbs, to look at the lexical choices, and to compare and to contrast. For example, if we look at the pronouns, in the first stanza, what kind of pronouns we find? Pronouns like they, we, okay, they again. So what are these nouns? What are these pronouns? Plural. Okay. If you go to the, what are the pronouns? I. Now, this is something we can observe. Can you account for this? Can you explain this? So what? Can you give meaning to this? Yes, please.
In the past, when you mentioned they, we, they, there is a cooperation between the
Okay, yes.
and I, there is still
Yes. So, yes, like the plurality of the pronoun, or, the plural pronouns, indicate a word of cooperation, a sense of collectiveness, a sense of community. So, the past was, a collective society. The past was a society of people getting together. However, today, the present, and this is the Victorian, the late Victorian age, it is a word of individualism. It is a word of, selfishness. Okay, so this is clear. What about the verbs? The verbs. You look at the verbs. Yes.
The first two stanzas he used past tenses.
Yes, past tenses.
Yes, because he talks about the past. And in the other ones...
And how did he talk about the past? Like, he talked about the past in a very clear way. Like somebody, like we sat, we pictured. So he was describing a very, let's say positive word, a very romantic word where people cooperated, got together, and they enjoyed themselves around the fireside. But here, in the present, see, what are these verbs? Modal verbs. And, okay. So modal verbs have to do with what? Skepticism. Why? I know, like, this is what you found in, like, the stylistic analysis, but why? Why skepticism? What are the modal verbs? What are the modal verbs? Okay, what do we call the modal verbs? Modality. What is modality? A personal point of view. Could you elaborate a little bit? Thank you very much. So when I use, like a modal verb, it means I'm expressing a personal, point of view. Huh? How? I feel. Okay.
Personal point of view which could not be 100% happen in the real.
Yes. Like, for example, he must be outside. Or she must be sick. It will rain. You are talking about things in a very uncertain manner. So the modal verbs have to do with uncertainty. Uncertainty or doubt. Yes.
Still hoping or wishing to be right. What the elder told him is to be right.
Yeah, like even like the word hope, hoping it might be so. There is uncertainty. The word hoping it might be so. So yes, we're moving from a sense of certainty to a sense of uncertainty, to a sense of, clarity to a sense of ambiguity. You see what I mean? Good. Also, if we look at the syntactic choices, you know what's mean syntactic? The words. The words. What do you think? The words. And even have you compared between here, Christmas Eve and 12 of the clock, they are all on their knees, and elder said, as we sat. The word elder is contrasted with the word someone. If someone, like in the past, the speaker was a senior person. Nowadays, the speaker is someone. So, can you try to give meaning to this? Yes, Hidayat, your Hidayah, you are.
In the past, other people, wise people who had with enough experience to speak, they had the right to stand up and express everybody's mind. But
yes.
Nowadays, a young person, one who's unqualified, anyone, we call it in Arabic, as our Prophet Muhammad said, al-waybila.
Oh, wow.
Anyone can speak for himself, or even for the public.
Yeah, you're right. So in the past, yes, an elder, it has, this positive connotation. When we are talking about an elder, we are talking about a word where seniority was respected, where wisdom was appreciated. However, when we are talking about someone, it is indefinite pronoun. It signals some feeling of irrespect, lack of wisdom, rashness, someone. See what I mean? So there is difference. A person who is lacking a qualification. Thank you very much for, yes?
Yeah, I think it is to do with the community structure. Like before, the community revolved around having the people and the elders telling them this and that. And some of the people that took this poem to be an attack on losing faith in religion, or saying some interpretation said that he's saying that you shouldn't take anything for granted and it's a superstition. So maybe he's saying, for example, that now anybody can see and think for himself, but before you just take it from the elders and take it for granted without even thinking. It can be true, it can be superstition.
Yeah, so the reaction, again, a senior person said in the past was taken for granted, was, embraced without questioning. However, nowadays, because of increasing feeling of uncertainty, and nowadays, the uncertainty, the skepticism, the individualism, we're talking about what? The late Victorian age. It was the age, we talk about when we, if you remember in the lecture before the previous lecture, we talked about Dover Beach, and we saw how Matthew Arnold was complaining because of the uncertainty, because of the skepticism, and we said that it was because of the changes in society, because of Darwin theory, because of the withdrawal of religion. So here we are trying to see how Hardy was conscious of that changing word. It was a changing. And indeed, he was right, because after him, as he said, the war, perhaps 10 years after this poem, the First World started, and it ended up with massacres, bloodshed, and the human, or the sea of faith was very shrinking, very withdrawing to the limit. Good. Someone, and they are not the only words. We have words, more words. Okay, what do you think of like embers, Christmas Eve and 12 of the clock. They are all on their knees, and elders sat in the flock. What is a flock? Is it positive or negative? It's like a crowd, you know? Flock, like a herd, you know? And this is, you know, in Christianity they called it, it's a biblical word. Because Jesus thought of himself as what? A shepherd. And the people were the flocks. You know, the sheep or the flock. So here, yes, it's a biblical word. And look here, we meek, mild creatures. Again, meek and mild, yeah. It's a paradox because, you know, we know that there's a paradox, isn't it? Is it a paradox? Yeah, because we know that the oxen are very wild, but here the meek, you know, because of the effect of the birth, because, you know, it was a cosmic phenomena, but meek, mild creatures, like Jesus was referred to as a meek, mild, meek, very soft, very gentle, very kind. Okay? Again, these are biblical words. They are words which, you know, have to do with the sense of clarity and the sense of, you know, simplicity. They are simple words. But if you go, look here, so fair, fancy, fancy, unreal things. Even look at the alliteration. So fair, fancy, you know. It's very disgusting, very, you know. Somebody, like he's not happy, you know. And in these years, I feel if someone said on Christmas Eve, come see the oxen kneel in the lonely Barton. Here, we started, what is a Barton? What is a Barton? Did you check this word? Did you check up this word in the dictionary? No? Okay, I understand that you are not investing your time, guys. I said you should prepare. Your eyes are telling me that you have not spent much time on this poem, even though you have a stylistic analysis of the poem in your reader. Okay? But let me, Barton means a shed. A shed, you know, like a cow shed. You know, it's a place where you keep the animals. But like this is not everyday language. It is Barton, Koo, by yonder Koo, it's a valley. Like look, even if you go to the dictionary, you will not find gloom, hoping it might be so. So these words are intricate words. They are even archaic words, and they are dissonant with their sound. A last thing I want to talk about in this poem is the sentence structure. Okay, if you look at the sentence structure, or in the first two stanzas, you find that, okay, how many types of sentences do we have? It's a good grammar question. How many types of sentences do we have? Three. Or four? Four, okay, thank you. Simple, compound, complex, compound and complex. Okay, can you give me an example of a simple sentence? Okay, good. She's lazy, thank you. They are lazy. Okay, can you give me an example of a compound sentence? She's lazy but smart. Okay. Can you give me an example of a complex sentence? Although she's lazy. She's smart. Okay, thank you. Now, if you look here at the sentences in like Christmas Eve and 12 of the now they are all on their knees. It is what? It is a symbol. An elder said, as we sat in a flock. Like this is what? No? An elder said, as we sat in the flock. Complex. But it is like, it's not, it is complex, yes, but it is not very intricate. So here, we pictured, the meek, mild creatures where they dwelt. It's, a relative clause. Nor did it occur, it's another one. It's a compound. So, usually compound, complex. But what about the sentence structure in I feel? I feel happy. But I feel happy as a symbol. But here, do we have this symbol, sentence structure? I feel. It is interrupted, because I feel, you don't have the complement. I feel if someone. So this is it is what we call embedded clause. If I feel, if someone, said on a Christmas Eve, it's a conditional sentence. And the conditional sentences, if you remember, they have to do with what? A feeling of certainty or uncertainty? Uncertainty. Again, we have this is reflected. If someone, look, here the main clause is interrupted by a conditional clause. If someone said on Christmas Eve, come see the oxen kneel. Okay? In the lonely Barton, come, if someone said on a Christmas Eve, we don't have, come see the oxen kneel. We don't have the second part of if sentence. So, and this come on, see the oxen kneel, it is a noun clause. You come, said, come on, it is the object of the verb said. If someone said, what do you say? Come and see. So it's, you come and see. It is a noun clause. In the lonely Barton, again, we don't have, look here, how intricate is the sentence structure. It is very complicated. In the lonely Barton by yonder Sioux, our childhood used to know. It's another clause, in the lonely Barton, this is adverb of place. Then you have adjective clause. And still we are waiting, the object of I feel or the predicate of I feel. It is not there. It is very intricate, very complicated sentence structure. Our childhood used to know. What kind of clause is this? Our childhood used to know. In the lonely Barton, by yonder coombe, our childhood used to know. Yeah? It is adjective clause. Which, like in the lonely Barton by yonder coombe, which our childhood used to know. You see what I mean? It's an adjective clause. Yes, it is reduced adjective clause. It's not reduced. We have what we call ellipses. It is not reduced, Jihan. We have ellipses, which, for example, this is the book that I read. This is the book I read. The reduced is like this. The man, talking to his wife is losing his mind. This is like an example of, okay, good. But again, used to. What is used to? It is what?
Something happened in the past.
Yeah, but what kind of verb is this? It's a modal verb. Thank you. Why is it a modal verb? Yeah, it's I used to. It's like other used to. I used to do something. I used not to do that. Or sometimes I say I didn't use. It's again a modal verb, which we might use in our analysis. So what I want to say, and then I should go with him if somebody This is like, the second part of the conditional sentence, and then, hoping it might be so, this is the predicate of I feel. Hoping it might be so. As you see, it's a very strange poem, isn't it? Yeah. But look how stylistic analysis is very, useful. Now we manipulated, the stylistic analysis in exploring the deep meaning of the poem. And, all what I said, or not all of what I said, some of it you might find in the reader. If you go, I left for you in the appendices. In the appendices at the back of the, something called stylistic analysis of the Oxen. So read it, and if you have any question about this, we can discuss it next time. So next time I'm not giving you a new poem. It would be like further discussion of this poem, and it's a general discussion before we proceed and do the war poetry, Wilfred Owen, futility. Okay? Do you have any question? Thank you for listening, and see you next time.